All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. So I wanted to make a video about a bodybuilder from the 1980s and 90s. His name was Aaron Baker. He was also known as Batman for a famous posing appearance that he did wearing a Batman costume. So Aaron Baker began his bodybuilding career in 1981 at the AAU Junior Mr. USA's, where he placed fifth. He would compete all throughout the 80s in the NPC until he would win the NPC USA Championships, the heavyweight and the overall, in 1990. Now, in 1991, I think he would make maybe one of the biggest mistakes of his career, and he would sign with Vince McMahon's bodybuilding federation, the WBF. And in 1991, he competed in the first annual WBF Grand Prix, and he placed sixth. Then in 1992, he competed in the second and final WBF Grand Prix, where he placed third. Now, why do I say I think this was the biggest mistake of his career? Because number one, what Vince McMahon was trying to do with the WBF was become a rival organization to the IFBB. So basically what Aaron Baker did was he went straight from winning that NPC USA's right into the WBF. So he didn't compete in the IFBB at all between the NPC and the WBF. He just went straight to the WBF. Now, I think, honestly, all these bodybuilders that went over to the WBF, that put like a permanent stain on their career in the eyes of the IFBB, and it kind of put a political stigma on them because they were part of this rival organization. Like I said, you had guys like Mike Christian, Jim Quinn, Eddie Robinson, Gary Stridham. These are all guys that had amazing physiques, and they would go over to the IFBB, and from 92 onward, they just did not have successful careers over there. So during his career with the IFBB, when he left the WBF, he competed from 1993 to 2003 in the IFBB. And during that 10-year span of time, he would not win a single pro show with the IFBB. So his best placings, he had a couple second place finishes sprinkled in there. So second place at the 1995 Florida Pro Invitational. And probably most noteworthy, a second place finish at the 1995 Ironman Pro Invitational. So for those of you who know anything about bodybuilding, the Ironman Pro is a very, very competitive pro show. So a second place finish there is probably his most noteworthy placing. In terms of the Mr. Olympia competition, he competed there 4 times. So in 1994, he placed 12th at the Olympia. In 1995, he placed 9th, and that would be his best Olympia placing. Again, that was the same year he placed second at the Ironman, so 1995 was arguably his best year with the IFBB. In 1996, he would place 11th at the Olympia, and in 1998, he would not place at the Olympia. It's also worth mentioning that he had back-to-back 6th place finishes at the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic in 1994 and 1995. Now, there was a rumor during Aaron Baker's bodybuilding career that he was gay, but in fact, I believe this is nothing more than a rumor because he was married to a female. I'm not sure if he's still married to that woman or not. I can't find that information, but he was in fact married to a woman. So the rumor that he was gay was never actually confirmed. It was more or less due to the fact that he wore these crazy costumes at guest posings. And also, apparently, his voice was relatively high-pitched and his demeanor was relatively flamboyant. But I think overall his physique was extremely underrated. He had an incredibly impressive physique during the time that he was a bodybuilder. I mean, just the sheer size, the conditioning, his arms, everything was super impressive. And to this day, I believe he's in his late 40s or early 50s to this day, and he still maintains a relatively big bodybuilder-esque physique. He lives out in California, I believe, and he's pursuing different opportunities in acting. I think he's experimented a little bit with different independent wrestling organizations and stuff like that. He's been in a couple shows and a couple movies. He was in Sister Act 2. He was in a TV show called City Guys. Also a show called Whatever It Takes, which was more of a little fitness special. He was in something called Repossessed. And he was involved with UWA professional wrestling as well as ACW professional wrestling in the early 2000s. His height was 5'8", and his competitive weight was between 230 and 240 pounds. He was born in 1960, according to bodybuilding.com, which would put him at 57 years old. Now, the most recent photos and pictures I've seen of him, they have him listed at 49 years old, but I guess they could be relatively old photos. But according to bodybuilding.com, his birthday is in 1960, which will put him at 57, and the most recent photos I've seen of him look very impressive. So for his age, he's a very impressive looking guy. One of the things he was famous for during his bodybuilding career, aside from the fact that he had all these colorful costumes and these crazy posing routines, he was also known for being crazy strong and training super heavy. He was known to rep 505 pounds on the incline bench press, flat bench of 525 pounds, and he was known to squat over 800 pounds as well. As far as I know, after bodybuilding, he did the pro wrestling thing, a little bit of acting, and then he pursued personal training, which is what I believe is still his profession today. As a personal trainer is his main source of income. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and learned a little bit about Aaron Baker that you might not have known before. Please give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.